So, Brain, tell me, should I do only a Bad Batch review or a review and episodes ranked video? I don't know. I mean, if you do both, you might overwork yourself. But that would also be more content for your viewers, so.
Well, the kid's got a point.
Wrecker?
The cavalry has arrived!
Anyways, what's our decision? I think you should do only the series review. You're gonna want to save your energy for other things. Are you sure, though? I mean, I've been meaning to do these episode ranked videos for these Disney Plus shows for a while now. Maybe I should finally do one.
Well, the kid's got a point.
Thank you, Wrecker. See, Brain, you should be more like Wrecker. He's actually encouraging. Well, if you're just gonna make these decisions on your own, then why do you even ask me?
Well, the kid's got a point.
I am not a kid.
Well, the kid's got a point.
I mean, Wrecker's kind of right. I could be called a kid, and what are you but, well, me?
Well, the kid's got a point.
Is that all you say?
Well, the kid's got a point.
I'm out. You're on your own. I think I just lost my mind. This is Renegon 1001, and I am here today to give a review of the Bad Batch Season 1 now that all of the episodes are released. So, I'm basically just going to give my thoughts on the show as a whole, and then after I do that, I will put it on my ranking of Disney Plus original series, which is something that I do whenever I do a series review of these Disney Plus original series. So without further ado, let's get into it. I think that Season 1 of The Bad Batch had a lot of highs and lows. Most of those lows were the Sid missions. But I think another reason why there were so many highs and lows to this season is that they would sort of set up storylines, just take a break from it, and then come back to it later. Like they don't really follow one storyline. There were multiple storylines introduced, and there were some episodes that tackled those storylines. Some of them were just Sid missions, didn't tackle any of these storylines. But it wasn't one coherent story, really. For example, we had the Bounty Hunter arc. It sort of started in episode 4 when we saw Fennec Shand trying to take Omega. Then we had like a 2-episode break with episodes 5 and 6. Those were mostly Sid missions. Actually, we had a 3-episode break. We didn't really have that much in episode 7, except a little bit of setup at the end for episode 8 and 9, which really focused on that Bounty Hunter arc, and it just ended it there. But I feel like they had a lot of potential. It had a lot of potential to keep going instead of just ending it. But they just ended it and they didn't keep going with it. Like in episode 9, they ended it, and then that was it, and then they moved on to a totally different thing. And I think that's a big problem with this show. They introduced stuff, but they didn't let it go to its full potential. They could have done so much more with it. And I think maybe this season was just a setup for the upcoming seasons, which was something that we saw in Clone Wars, and a problem that the Clone Wars show suffered from way more. They had arcs that went over multiple seasons. They kind of introduced it, and they just randomly picked it up throughout the season. So they had so many episodes that were just unnecessary. And I feel like in this show, they also had episodes that were unnecessary. Definitely not as much as Clone Wars, because in Clone Wars, they would just like switch between characters a bunch. In this show, they stuck with that batch. But I feel like it had so much more potential. I think they should have in the story more. I'm not saying they should have had just one storyline. I think it would be good if they more focused on three storylines, uh, which they had in this season, which were the transitions between the Empire and between the Republic and the Empire, which they had, and I think they had the right amount of that. I don't think we needed too much of that. We didn't need that much focus. So then the second storyline, I think they should have went with throughout the whole season, not just ended it like halfway through, was the bounty hunter storyline. Maybe they could, because they had in episode 9, Fennec, Nala Se talked to Fennec Shand saying that, is Omega safe? And then there it was revealed that that's why Fennec was hired. I feel like they really could have went back to that in the finale, where they could have had a scenario where, okay, Omega is now in danger. She's on Camino. Camino is being destroyed, and Nala Se has a feeling this will happen, so she would send in Fennec to go save Omega and the Bad Batch. They could have done that. There was so much potential there, but it was just kind of wasted. But now that we're done with the negatives, I'm gonna get into the positives of this show, what I really liked about it. And what I really liked about it was the actual characters of the Bad Batch. And I think that's because a lot of it maybe wasn't so story driven, but a lot of the episodes were very character driven, and the Bad Batch members they had an arc, especially Crosshair, and there were a lot of personal moments for them between Crosshair and the rest of the Bad Batch members, um, with just their disagreements and and talking about loyalty and all of that. They did a lot of great character development, uh, and it didn't quite make up for the lacking plot, but it did help, and I think they did really well with the character development. And for the actual plot, there were great moments, even if they weren't totally paid off. Like those two episodes, episode 8 and 9, where the bounty hunter arc was kind of finishing. Those were amazing. Those were my favorite episodes of the whole show. And some of the stuff with Wrecker, his inhibitor chip working up, and him like almost killing Omega. That was intense stuff. There were some moments. Unfortunately, they weren't paid off that well, but they still were great moments, and I feel like they could pay off some of this stuff in season 2. I think the season was a lot of setup. For example, I think they introduced Sid, maybe to reintroduce the Pikes, who were characters that we saw in the Clone Wars, and we saw in episode 13 of the Bad Batch, which is my least favorite episode. In mine, they said that it was, but I think that going into season 2, we might find out that that wasn't really filler. It was kind of introducing the Pikes. I do still think that that episode wasn't very important to season 1, but or maybe even season 2, they didn't really need it. But I think that might be a way that they might introduce the Pikes, which might lead in season 2. We might see those characters more in season 2. So yeah, I think this season is a lot of setup. It had great moments, great character development. Yeah, and it's a decent show. I'll give the show a 6 out of 10. So now I'm gonna put the show on my ranking of Disney Plus original series. So this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna put The Bad Batch at number 9, right under High School Musical the series, season 2. Now, the reason being for that ranking is that The Bad Batch and High School Musical the series, season 2, are more similar than you think. They are both stories with great moments that are really enjoyable, that have great characters, but they have so much wasted potential. So that's why I put The Bad Batch right under it. Also because I personally enjoyed High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 2 more. I think it has more charming characters. It's funnier. It's more of a funner show, a lighter show, and that's the kind of thing that I like. So that's why I put the Bad Batch at number 9. That's why it's so low on the list. So, anyways, that's it for this video. If you liked it, give it a like and subscribe because I do videos on these Disney Plus shows. I make Star Wars content, Marvel content, Pixar, Disney, all that kind of stuff. So if that sounds interesting to you, then subscribe for that kind of stuff. And thanks for watching.